Before we get into the episode, I am thrilled to announce that the EntreMD Business School is open for enrollment. The EntreMD Business School is the only school of its kind for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. Over the last 2 years, we have had hundreds of doctors go through the school with unbelievable results. Some of them run brands, some of them run private practices, some of them are coaches, some have other kinds of service-based businesses or product-based businesses. And we've had people come in and cross the 6-figure milestone, cross the 7-figure milestone, cross the multiple 7-figure milestone. You will be in a place where you'll get the coaching, the community, the accountability that you need to thrive as an entrepreneur, especially in the times that we're in. So maybe you've been following me for a while. Maybe you've been getting so much out of the EntreMD podcast and you've been wondering, how can I work with Dr. Una and the community more? Well, this is your chance. Come join us in the EntreMD Business School. It is application only. So go to entremd.com/business to turn in your application. I cannot tell you how many doctors have made statements like this. I recovered my investment in the first week. I recovered my investment in my bank account in the first 90 days. This is the best investment I've made in myself ever. I want you to have that kind of story, not just a story of building a great business that serves a lot and earns a lot, but having a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. So don't wait any longer. entremd.com/business. And now for the episode. Hi, docs. Welcome to the EntreMD podcast, where it's all about helping amazing physicians just like you embrace entrepreneurship so you can have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on your terms. I'm your host, Dr. Una. Well, hello. Welcome to another episode of the EntreMD podcast. And listen, are you in for a treat or what? I have the super fabulous Dr. Latifat of MoneyFitMD. I interviewed her a while ago, and so many things have happened since then. So she's back here. You can check it out. It's episode 106. But you are in for a treat because she's so generous. She's going to share her story. She's going to take us behind the scenes. She's going to drop gem after gem. So I want you to lean back, lean in, get ready. Welcome to the show, Dr. Latifat.
Zero pressure at all. Did you guys hear that intro?
There's no pressure. This is just you being you.
Pressure. Oh, I mean, always a joy. You know that already, but always such a great time coming to EntreMD, hearing you, talking with you, and sharing whatever little I can share with the audience. So thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, some people are going like, oh my God, Dr. Latifat is back. And some other people are like, okay, I'm excited too, because everybody's excited, but who's Dr. Latifat? So I'm going to give you a moment to introduce yourself to the audience.
All right. I am Dr. Latifat, aka Dr. Una's #1 fan. So yes, if you're listening to this and you are a fan of hers, join the line because I am a #1 fan. So jokes aside, I am Dr. Latifat. I'm also called MoneyFitMD. I'm a GI doc. I live in California. I'm the mama of 3 ladies, and I am a money coach for women physicians. And what that means, I help women physicians be empowered through financial freedom. So that's my stuff.
And you know, I'm all for women physicians, guys, you too, but I'm all for women physicians and I'm all for financial freedom. So these are buzzwords that are just making me happy. Super happy that you're here. Now, when I look back, right? I mean, you decided, okay, I'm going to do this entrepreneurship thing like 16 months ago, right? And I know, you know, that so many amazing things have happened. So what are some of the kind of results, right? So I was hearing financial freedom, all this stuff. What are kind of results you've had with your clients so far? In just barely a year and a half. Not even that.
So because I know your audience is very entrepreneurial, I'm going to be pretty as detailed as I can. So I'm going to break my clients into 2. I'm going to break my clients that will never pay me $1 as one, because I'm here to help women physicians. And many of those are not going to pay me a penny. However, some of those will. So for the ones that are never going to pay me a penny, I have spoken to them. I have helped them learn how to love their life. I've helped them learn how to make money stop being this complicated, hard to understand thing. I've helped them learn how to negotiate better and really learn their value and know their worth. And the reason why I know that is because they share with me. They send me messages, they comment on my podcast, and the fact that I just know it. And so those are my biggest clients, which is all of human race listening to me. And then I'll talk about my paid clients who are my dream. I tell them that we're both curated with ourselves in mind or whatever. And the stories have been amazing. And I say they're amazing not because they're like, oh, they made money overnight, but because it's the story of true, real good work that's been done with partnership with me, but really it's them doing the work. And I'll give you some examples. So
yes, we want examples.
Yes, I'll give you an example. So I'll give you an example of a woman physician who is a primary care doc. Her entire goal was just to enjoy Disneyland because life is hard as it is. And she plans on paying off her student debt at some point. Her passion in life is helping her patients. She's a family medicine doc. So most primary care docs are that way. But she also believes in advocacy. She believes in just helping her community. And we started working together. And when we did, it was realizing that the goal is for her to be able to enjoy her Disney. That's the goal. And when you're trying to get your money together, it doesn't mean that you stop doing the things that give you joy. We just help you restructure things so that you can do those things that give you joy even more. So you can do it without worrying, without being afraid, and without thinking you're doing something wrong. So that's what we did with her. And it's been remarkable to see her journey. She gives me goosebumps because she not only has money, but she's actually changing her community. The knowledge that she's having, she's helped her parents also pay off their debt. And for the first time in her adult life, her parents, she didn't pay it off for them. She taught them the things she learned. And now her parents have no debt and they have money and she has money. And what that means is that as a primary care doctor, she knows how to negotiate her worth. So she works 4 days a week, making just as much as a GI doc would in the same number of days. She's paid off her student debt. She has diversified her income source. And she is like, I feel so empowered. She is a complete badass. She's leading her department in so many ways. And the fact that she doesn't have to worry about money means she gets to do all that with joy and uses her voice and make an impact, which is what I'm about. Impact, legacy, and create a rich life. So that's an example for you.
That is so beautiful. Like to think of the fact that you're working with one person and you're living through her, right? Because now she's changing a whole community. She's changing her parents. So we're talking about generational change, right? And she's changing herself. It's like this complete deal. And this is what entrepreneurship is all about. It's about impact. Yes, we must earn. Yes, we must make revenue, but it's about living a life of impact. So you go to work, you're a GI doc, you love what you do. I know because you tell me, but having this other vehicle where you can help people the way you've always wanted to help them. How does that feel? Because now you're not on the other side, like you've arrived, but you're very far away from where you started from. What does it feel like?
It feels like a gift. And I'll be honest with you, because it is 2021. We're still in the middle of a pandemic, which means that physicians are burnt out more than ever before. And for me, there is a lightness in my shoulder when I know that I'm seeing patients clinically because I want to, not because I have to. And that by itself is a gift. I think that as physicians, if we own the power of our brain, really, because we're born entrepreneurs, we're born assessment and planners. And if we truly own that and funnel that into whatever it is we want to funnel it into, we will actually create a generation of physicians that are completely amazing, more amazing than before, because we are seeing patients because we want to. We are less concerned about Presgani or whatever that person's name is. Right? We're less concerned about that person. We understand that there is no scarcity of doctors for patients. So what that means in our mind is we get to be our true selves. And the patients that love us and gel with us will stay. And those that don't, will give them our blessings and they'll move on forward. And what that creates is health for everybody, for them, for you, and for all of us, really. So absolutely.
That's beautiful. Okay, people, I usually say this at the end of the podcast episode, but you need to share this episode. Okay. You need to take a screenshot. You need to tag me, EntreMD, tag Dr. Latifat at MoneyFitMD and go like, my goodness, this is amazing. Okay. All right. Now today we are celebrating though. We are celebrating a milestone in your business. So you want to tell the audience what that is?
Yes, I found out surprisingly that I make not seven yet, six figures in my business. Apparently.
Look at that. Working how often? Like 5 days a week in your business?
Well, I coach 1 day a week. I work on my business kind of most days, but working on my business is an extension of me. So it doesn't feel like working. But in terms of the actual stuff, because remember, I have two different clients. I help everybody on any day, which is what you and I do any day anyway. But in terms of those that actually exchange services for payment, I do that less than one full day a week. But
Just a one full day a week, $100,000. I love it. Okay. So now inquiring minds want to know. And I've had the pleasure of watching your journey, which for me, I mean, like literally when I talk to people like you, if I were texting you, I would put the popcorn emoji and the movie emoji. Like I just lean back and I'm like, this is so much fun, right? So what do you think, right? You know, I always go by odd numbers. So 3 is too little, 7 maybe too much. So I'm going to stick with 5. What do you think are the top 5 things that are responsible for your success in business? What do you think?
So I'm going to try and pick the ones that I think are the highest, but hopefully I do. But either way, I hope this will help the audience. Number 1, I would say is not being afraid of failure. That's my number 1. Because the reason why I didn't start this stuff sooner on a more large scale was because I was afraid of failure. I was afraid, what if I get no's? What if I have money as an entrepreneur and it changes who I am? So there's definitely fear was a big one. So learning to, 1, overcoming it when I could. But number 2 is learning that I didn't have to overcome fear in order to take action.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Say that again. Say that one more time.
So learning, I'm not going to remember what I said, but a lot of times we wait or we're looking for the tools to help us overcome fear before we start. And there are times when we can do that. However, there are many times when we need to just understand that fear is not going anywhere and we can take action regardless of whether we have fear or not.
I love it. So people, fear does not mean stop. It just means you're afraid. Do it anyway. I love that. Anyway. Now, you talked about the fear of money change, getting successful and it changes you. You talked about the fear of no's. Are there any of the fears that are kind of predominant when you were starting?
I think both were. The first fear of success was one that prevented me from even starting. And I didn't realize this. And a lot of times we don't actually know it. It's very unconscious. It's like a little buzz in the background. We don't even know it's there. But many of us are afraid of what would happen when life is actually within our control. Am I going to be the kind of mom that I want to be? Am I going to be MIA? What is that going to look like? Being a CEO, isn't that going to be scary? All the stuff that's going to happen as if we have no control over when we say yes or no.
So did it change you? Has it changed you?
Oh, absolutely. Well, it hasn't changed me. But what I will say is in order to succeed, I have had to evolve. And that evolution has changed me, but not in a bad way, because the number 2 thing that I will say has helped with success is becoming more of who I am.
Yes. Ooh, I love that. Okay, unpack. Let's hear it. Spill the beans. I love it.
Spill the beans. So the thing is this. A lot of times we look around ourselves and we're looking for evidence of success. And you may look around and you will see people and you look for reasons why you're not similar, why you're different. And you use that. And I say you, but I have done this as well. I use that as a reason to retreat back into my, comfortable zone because it worked for them. It's not going to work for me. And then when I now get started or when you get started, you're like, well, it's worked for them, but it's still not going to work for me because we think that they are the only definition of success. What you don't know or what you may not know and what I did not know is success is actually diverse. Success can be diverse. And if you're looking around and you don't see someone that looks like you, someone you identify with, that is not a reason why you will not be successful. That is the exact reason why you are going to be successful, because we already have enough of those people. And now we just want you to stop trying to be like everybody else and just be like you, because you are the magic sauce. So
I am the
that's what I had
magic
to
sauce.
find. I am
Okay,
the magic
so
sauce.
I'm really glad you brought this up, because this was huge for me. I was used to hiding, and the thing is, I didn't even recognize it as much. Like I knew, I'd stay at the back of meeting rooms and all of that stuff, but it was a lot deeper than that. It was so bad that there was a day, and this must have been 2 or 3 years ago. So this is not so long ago. I was about to put on a yellow dress, right? I'm about to put it on. And for the first time, I heard my subconscious. It was like, don't wear that. Everybody will notice you. So that's when it occurred to me that Black was my favorite color, because I'm invisible, quote unquote, when I wear Black. I was shocked by it. I did not realize how much I tried to hide who I was. And it's the same thing. That's the reason why I didn't want to do podcasts and all this, because I was like, I don't want people to see my thoughts. I don't want people to see, you see what I'm saying? Like my point of view and all of that. So I didn't realize how much hiding I was doing. And that's when it started dawning on me that, listen, what the world wants is you. They don't want a cheap copy of somebody else. They want you. And it took me so long that I really appreciate you saying this, because this was me 6 years ago. This would have been complete news. I would not even have known. You see what I'm saying? So thank you for sharing that. The world does want us. Like, I'm the magic sauce. You're the magic sauce. And
you're the magic sauce.
The people there are solving the problems they're supposed to solve. I'm on assignment to solve some other problem, and I can't solve it being like them. I'm wired to solve what I'm out here to solve. So, thank you for saying that. That's powerful.
Absolutely. And most times, right, as entrepreneurs, we do things or we start businesses because we know there is a need. And what we think is, okay, there is a need that needs to be met, but I'm going to satisfy that need by doing the exact same thing that already existed and try to be that same person that already existed. When what we're trying to solve is that same problem for people like us that are waiting for us.
Yeah.
To stop trying to be like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is so good. This is so, so, so good. Okay. Oof. All right. Number 3.
Number 3 is asking for help. Oh my goodness, Dr. Una, asking for help is so big, because shame is something that is very common. And in the physician space, we know that it's common. During our training, you told, ask good questions only.
Only.
Right?
Yeah.
Only good questions. Who gets to define what a good question is? Who gets to define that, right? So a lot of times we don't ask questions, we don't ask for help, because we're like, someone's going to judge us. They're going to think we're stupid. We're going to think we're incapable. And I started asking myself, so what? What does it matter to me what they think about me? And honestly, that just relieved me of so much shame. And what you don't know is that person you're asking may not even know the answer, because we all have the same questions anyway. The only difference is you're brave enough to ask publicly. So for me, asking for help has been huge, because I can do everything by myself, but it can maybe take me 12 months versus it can take me 20 minutes.
Yep. If you
right?
ask.
Just ask, right? And the thing is, you may ask someone and they may judge you. That's not about you. That's about them. That's their problem. They have issues to figure out. You just carry your awesomeness, your amazing self, and go ask someone else. And if it's a question, there is an answer. Someone has already figured it out. And the only reason why you haven't gotten the answer is you haven't knocked on as many doors. So keep knocking, you'll find the door, and it will take you less than a year to find it. I promise you.
Yes. Ask shamelessly. Don't worry about it. I love it. Okay. What else you got there? This is so good.
Invest in yourself, y'all. Listen. As the original scarcity mindset queen, I'm telling you, I tell people I can write a textbook on scarcity mindset because I can show you all the ways that it's showed up in my life. So I know that it's very easy to say, but I don't want to spend. But these people want me to spend. They want to take money from me. But that's based on scarcity because we're thinking of what we're giving. But what about what we're receiving back? So for
Mm.
me, the more I spend, the more I actually make. The more I spend, the more I have. And the reason why is I spend on assets. So if you're like, I need help, I want to get this, I think it would help me. The question I have for you is think in terms of your return on investment. Because the bottom line is, if you think about the people that have successful businesses, they have invested. And a lot of times they don't invest in tools, they invest in themselves and create the tools.
Ooh, I like
Okay,
that.
so if you ask Dr. Una if she's going to tell us how much she invests in her brain, she will tell you it's going to be a lot. And what I found is when I find the systems, the coaches, the tools that resonate with me, and I put my money in it, it may hurt a little bit to put the money down. But the more it hurts, guess what? The more I'm going to grow. Because if you and I go to the gym, we work out and we don't feel any burn, we're like, that was not a good workout. We work out till we burn. Right? So sometimes when it comes to investing, when it burns a little bit, it means that you're going to actually up your game. And guess what happens? You're going to get that much more return on your investment. So that's been huge for me because I've gone from, why would I want to pay for this? Why would I want to pay for that? To, I should pay for this. I'm going to do my research to make sure that this person is actually going to give me value. This program is going to give me value. But once I do that, I commit to 10x in my investment. That's what I tell all my people. 10x minimum. 10x, do it, invest, and watch yourself grow. And that's it.
And that right there is the mindset, right? Because I love that you said this, right? Because the way I think about it is like, whatever you invest in, if it's the right investment, it's free, right? Like, for instance, I did a program. I talk about it all the time, right? I did a 10-month group program, group. This is not one-on-one coaching, group program. And I paid 43 grand for, and it burned. It really burned. Okay. This burned. Okay. And this was my introduction. Like, I did not even know this world existed. Like, when I wanted to invest in myself, I bought a book. That was the extent of the knowledge I had about how I could improve myself. So this was my first introduction. And when I look back at it over the years, it has paid back like, I don't know, 100, 1,000 times over. Like, really, it's so insane. My husband's still like, oh, that's the best $43,000 we ever spent. You know what I mean? Like, he still says that. He's like, something. I think even recently, 2 weeks ago, he's like, you need to go give them some more money. You know what I mean? And so I love that you talk about the investment. I have seen, I would see Facebook posts where people are like, oh, it's a scam. And I'm like, why would you think that? You know what I mean? Nobody listens to this podcast thinks that. I'm just saying. Okay.
Only angels.
Only angels. Yeah. I'm just projecting here. Okay. So, but that is huge. And it's been huge. And so you're 16 months in. Would you say you've had a return on investment on the things you've invested in?
Well, 100%.
If you're not watching the video, like if you're listening to this on the podcast, you should see the face. She made like, what kind of question is that, Dr. Una? What?
Okay, so I'll tell you why I did that face. Because I'm like, I'm the money coach. Of course I'm going to get a return on my investment. You think I'm going to like invest and I get a return on it? Right? So absolutely. Because again, it's about being intentional. And I'm not saying go pour your money down the drain. Be intentional, look it up. But when you objectively have the data, you have to jump. And so for me, absolutely. I mean, I invested with you, Dr. Una. You were my first investment when it came to business, and 100%, zero, like no brainer. I've gotten so much return on my investment. And the thing too is this, and I don't know what number we're on, and this is also like piggyback on each other.
Let's go for it. We'll take it all.
Many times we're looking for a business. We're looking for a monetary outcome. What we don't understand is that the reason why we will create that is because we evolve, we change. We resist it so hard. It's like, I want a business that's going to succeed, but I don't want to change. I just want the business. I don't want to be visible. I don't want people to know me. I just want a business that, like, listen, it's impossible to create the impact and the business you want without you, the CEO, evolving to be the person that can grow that business. Because there's a reason why a lot of people that win the lottery actually end up being bankrupt, because they did not become the people that can handle that. So if you're listening right now and you're like, well, I want to grow a business, but I don't want to change. that means you don't want a business yet.
Wow.
Right? That means you don't want a business. That means maybe you want a business, but you don't want the business of your dream yet. Because until you open yourself to the idea of the fact that there could be a better version of yourself, a bolder version of yourself, or maybe less shy. I'm still a little shy, believe it or not. Version of yourself,
totally don't believe it, but okay.
Okay. My husband actually laughed at me. I said, babe, I think I'm an extroverted introvert. And he was shaking his head. I'm like, come on.
I agree with him on that one. No.
Thanks for making me laugh. It's a spectrum. I'm like, maybe it's like, babe, you are not on that spectrum.
You're not on the spectrum.
I'm not as extroverted as some of the extroverts that I know. But that's the bottom line. But the thing is this, even with that, whatever you think I am, I'm still someone that was very shy. And I still shy away from the light. I still get nervous every time I do a presentation. I still get nervous every time I talk, even before this. I'm a GI dog. So I will tell you that on my calendar, before every talk, I allow space for my IBS stuff if that needs to happen. And that's completely fine. But I know there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't care what anybody else thinks. If they think there's something wrong, they're not my people. And that's fine. So that's a thing, though. But the reason why I can confidently stand here or sit here before you and say that is because I invested in learning that it's okay for me to be odd and weird and different and whatever it is you call me, because that is my genius. That's my magic. And I'm here for the people that know that they need this and know that they want it from someone that's not perfect. And that's it.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so how have you evolved?
I have evolved, of course, into someone that's okay hearing no.
Yes.
I can't tell you, like, if you don't know me, feel free to check out my stuff. But for anything you've seen of me, it's the result of a bunch of no's that has already happened. So for every yes, there may be like 5 no's. And that's okay. I mean, I was on a podcast a couple months ago, and this was someone that I would not even have imagined on their podcast. And I asked them, and they said yes, but they were not the only person that I asked. That was someone that was my dream person. I asked other people, and those ones said no, but you're not going to see the result of that no. You're going to see the result of the yes. So everything that you see that success is the result of a bunch of no. So I've learned to be someone that is not afraid of no, not because I'm going to feel good about it, but it's not afraid to feel crappy for a moment.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. So it doesn't mean that you hear no, you're like, yes, you just allow yourself to feel crappy and it's okay. You keep it moving.
Sometimes I'm a yes, sometimes I'm a neutral, like, whatever, on to the next one. So I was like, oh, that feels crappy. I wish, that means I suck. And it's okay for me to think I suck because that's part of my humanness. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not meant to think I'm amazing all the time. So anytime you see me say that I'm amazing, I probably think I'm not amazing like another one time apart from that. So nothing's perfect. This is the result of a bunch of no's right here.
And no's are cool.
They're okay. And sometimes they're crappy, but they're still okay.
Yeah, it's part of the process. Okay, I love it. Did you have another one for us, or this is your stuff? Because I have stuff for you. Okay, give me the one more.
The other one I want to say is this, and I know a lot of your audience are physicians. There is huge burnout in medicine. And I think as entrepreneurs, we may have a tendency to want to take that into our entrepreneurial journey. So if anyone is listening, just understand that this is your business. I could have honestly created what I created in shorter amount of time, but I did not want to burn out because I want to create a business that I love. And that takes time. And that's worth the time. So sometimes we're in a rush, right? And you can ask yourself, why are you in a rush? Is this so you can have bragging rights? I'm so grateful that I took my time. And you were like, Latifat, you didn't take time, but I still did because I always have a goal to not burn out. And you can burn out from doing good stuff. So my business is a result of me not wanting to be burned out. So just keep that in mind. It's possible. For us, we're at higher risk of burnout because we're coming from medicine. So we have to be intentional about making sure we create a business that's not going to burn us out.
Love it. Oof, that was so good. So good. So many gems. And they apply whether whether you're going for your first 100,000, whether you're going for your first multiple 6-figure year, or you're going for a 7-figure year. These are all things that apply. Now, I don't think you thought I was going to tell you my part of it, but I don't have 5, but I have a few for you. And so this is just me observing. And one of the things is you dared a lot of stuff, right? And you may not have felt comfortable about it or whatever, but, because when you think about when you started your business, you started in May of 2020, right? Right smack in the middle of a pandemic, right? And you started off with, well, I don't know, I could do this, I could do that. I'm trying to it's not as though you had this business plan that you've had for 3 years and you're like, no, let's execute, right? Like you were like, but I'm willing to figure it out. I'm willing to find out how I want to serve. I'm willing to find out how I want to help. And I'm willing to do this. And you did that, even with a full-time job and all of that stuff. So you dared, you're like, whatever, right? A lot of boldness. And that is great. That is really good. And the second thing is that you relentlessly put yourself out there. Guys, I'm talking I'll be like, go get on podcasts. And our next call, she's like, so I have these 9 podcasts I'm going to be on. I'm like, you're my kind of people. Where have you been all my life? You know what I mean? But you relentlessly. And I remember I would always tell you, I was like, when this starts snowballing, I hope you're ready. You know what I mean? Because in the beginning, it doesn't look like you're doing it, like you're in a lot of places, but it doesn't show up in results. It doesn't show up in your bank account. And it's kind of like, okay, wait a minute, what's going on here? But it does, you know what I mean? And it got you on, really great stages, really great podcasts in really great groups. And watching that was a lot of fun. So that was something you were really relentless about. And I think the third thing is you navigated what is considered failure, but maybe we call them failed projects. They're not even failed projects. They're disappointing moments. Maybe that's what it is, right? Like you didn't, disappointing moments because they weren't failed. It wasn't a failed thing. So disappointing moment, but you handled it like a rock star. Now, handling it like a rock star doesn't mean it didn't hurt. Handling like a rock star means you're like, okay, so what lesson do we learn about that? I should change this. I should keep the same. This is time. This is okay. Let's go for the next one. That was always your approach to maybe, doing something that didn't quite work out the way you wanted it and all of that, which for an entrepreneur, it's a must have because you will have disappointments. It is not like if I'm a really great entrepreneur, then I won't. This is inevitable. You're going to have a lot of disappointing moments. I mean, like Michael Hyatt did a launch. Michael Hyatt, I had nobody buy. They introduced the new program. Nope, not one. We're talking someone who has over 100,000 people on his mailing list. Not one person accidentally bought, not one. So when I heard him say that, I was like, oh, the rest of us need to we need to calm down, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like we just need to tone it down. And that doesn't mean we hope for stuff like that, but you have to be able to navigate that, right? You have to be able to navigate disappointing things. And from the beginning, that's something that, I would watch you stop and go like, okay, so this, that, and it's okay. The next one will be better, blah, blah, blah. And let's go. And that was a lot of fun to watch. So those are my observations, my top 3 for you. Well, in addition to your 5, but that was really cool.
For observing that. And it's interesting too, because I want people to see that what Dr. Una saw was the outside effect, right? The relentless. But even in that being relentless, my tongue is twisting, there were still moments where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Mm-hmm. So if you're like, I've thought about quitting many times. So as every successful entrepreneur you've ever seen, the difference is some of us understand that it's us in our moments of like whining and like, okay, I just give myself space to complain and cry and whatever and say whatever, throw tantrums literally. But I know that when I'm done throwing my tantrum, I'm going to get up and say, okay, what did I learn from this? How do I pivot? Because I think of business as figuring out a recipe for success. You're like, okay, first time I make this, I'm going to add a little, salt. I'm going to add a little oregano. I'm going to add a little this because you are creating your formula for success. Of course, it's going to take you time to create formula for success. So I think expecting that it should work the first time is sort of setting yourself up for disappointment. But when you expect that, okay, this is my journey towards creating this system, this thing that is going to be what is actually magic, and it's going to be like nobody else's. As long as you understand that your job and your goal is not to be like anybody else. But if you're odd, if you're weird, if you're excited, if you're too friendly, if you're not friendly enough, all that, there is a market for a not friendly enough people that are literally waiting to buy your product, because the money is the thank you for what we're adding, for the value we're giving. Like, I literally don't get up and say, oh, what am I going to make money from? I've told people no. I've told people we're not the best fit for each other, clients that want to give me money. I've had programs say, no, cannot coach with your program, which means I'm saying no to that because it was not in line with the goal and the direction that I'm going to. And sometimes you have to say no to small things so you can say yes to bigger things, right? Because you don't want to burn out, right? You want to create the time so you can work on your magic and understand that there's no scarcity of time. This is a long-term game, unless you're planning on having a business that dies in 12 months. But if you're like, no, I want my business for years and years, then you have to be willing to become the person that you need to be, not someone else, you version that you need to be to create the version of the business that you are creating. But it does take time. It takes effort. It takes forgiving yourself for all the bad, quote unquote, decisions you make. It means saying yes to doors, saying no to some, and just enjoying the process. Really.
Enjoy it. I will tell you, recently I've talked with a lot of ultra successful people, and they would often give their backstories of when they started off their business, where they were just racing after the numbers, racing after the revenue numbers, just burning it all, doing it all, and all of that stuff. And climbing up a tree, getting to the top of the ladder and going like, this is not where I want to be. And I've always placed value on building what we want, which is the reason, people walk up to me like, so should I start a private practice? Is that's what you help people do? I'm like, no, I help you monetize whatever it is you want to do, right? Because we've always had a prescription. And for the first time in your life as an entrepreneur, you can build you can literally build what you want. You can become the kind of person who can build it. You can create a business that fits in the life you want. Because we've already done the burn and crash thing. We should be over it by now. I love the fact that you're bringing up the thing of taking the time, and it doesn't make you go slower. That's the thing people miss, right? You're taking the time to develop yourself and put yourself out there and do all the things out. It seems like, no, I just want it quick. You don't actually lose time for doing it this way, right? It's just that your first installment may come a little later, but it's sustainable. It's real. It doesn't burn and crash after a year. It just is the gift that keeps giving if you do it this way, which is what I consider the right way. But it's so much easier. You know what I mean? And so that's a really beautiful concept. I really like it.
I'm going to share two things. One is an analogy that you bring to mind. So, because I know you like analogies too.
I do.
I picture someone going on a long trip and with their car, and they're like, well, I can see my gas tank, but I don't want to stop for gas because it's going to slow me down. So stopping for gas may slow you down in the short term, but guess what? It's going to get you there. If you didn't stop for gas, you'll be fine in the minute short term. But when you're out in the middle of nowhere looking for gas, don't call me, right? Because you should have stopped for gas.
And it may take you 3 days more.
It may take you 3 days and stress and headache. And hopefully you don't have my kids in the car with you because, they will like, we need to pee, all this other stuff.
That's a great analogy. That is.
So just keep that in mind. And then the other thing too is I think there's someone for everybody. So if you're someone that you're like, well, this is all great, but I just want someone that's only going to give me the 1 step, 2 step, 3 step and tell me you don't have to change. I don't think MoneyFitMD or Dr. Una is necessarily the right person for you, to be honest. And it reminds me of a consultation that I did, which was actually pretty fun. Met with this doc, amazing, of course. Physicians are amazing.
They're amazing.
Men, you too.
Yeah.
And women physicians, we're just a little humph, But the bottom line is amazing, awesome woman physician. And we consulted and she's like, yeah, I want to get my money right, blah, blah, and tells me the things she's looking for. And I said, well, trying to get an understanding of what she wanted. And at the end of the day, she said, well, I just want someone that's going to tell me what to do, the steps to follow so that I can just do it. I really don't want to. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't think we're a good fit together because I only work with people that I want to become. That was what I told her. I said, I want you to become someone that can do all that for you. So yes, I'll tell you the what, I'll tell you the how, but I want you to now take it to another level where you can become the CEO of your financial life. The crazy thing that happened was something I'd never seen before. Before my eyes, she transformed. I was like, actually, that's what I want. I was just afraid to say it.
Aww.
That's what I want. Like, I want to be someone that does that. I want to be someone that has the confidence, that can sleep better at night, that can navigate my finances, that can, and the reason why I share the story with you is if you're like, well, I don't want to become, I just want a business. It may be coming from a place of fear because you're afraid. So I want you to just check in with that a little bit and really see what is your dream? Like, what is your dream? Because most times when you want that successful business, it's not just because you want a successful business. It's what you think the business is going to create for you in your life.
Yeah.
And in order to get that, you have to transform. And I know you're amazing if you listen to this, but there's an ultra level, amazing version of you waiting for you to evolve into. And that's what this journey is about.
Yeah. And the truth is, for physicians, if there's anything we're great at becoming. Right? Like think of some goofy teenager with an acne-ridden face who says, I'm going to become a heart surgeon. And he did it
Yes.
or she did it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, so for you to go from that, like from that teenager to a heart surgeon, and it's the same, whether it's pediatrics, whatever, it doesn't matter. For you to become that, it means you're a pro at this. You've done it before. It's just that with the narrative going on, the way the healthcare system is and all that stuff, we've forgotten who we are. If there's anybody who is great at transformation, I mean, think about intern year till third year. Think about the level of becoming that happens. You go from a person who's like, oh my God, I have to present a patient, to an attending that's running the floors, running multiple codes and all of that like a boss. We do this stuff. You know what I mean? This is what we do for fun. We're trained to do this. So we got this. Dr. Latifat, this was too much fun.
Analogy.
Too much fun.
Always fun. It was a pleasure.
I love it. All right. So do you have one last golden nugget for the physicians who are listening? Maybe even for someone who's discouraged. Maybe they've been in business for 16 months and they're looking back and they're like, oh, maybe I was even dabbling. Maybe I wasn't even doing this like I needed. And they're like, I've lost all this time and blah, blah, blah. And I don't think I can do it. Do you have any final words for that person?
Absolutely. All I'm going to say is this: it's completely normal and human to be discouraged, right? However, I want you to imagine that discouragement is a process we all get to experience on our journey to being encouraged. And if it's like you're running, a marathon or you're running a relay race. If we stop at the first checkpoint and we never continue, we're never going to get to the destination. Does it suck sometimes? Heck yes. Do I wish it was like completely smooth with no bumps or lumps? Maybe, but I don't think I actually do want that, because then I'm not going to be someone that can knock on any door. Like literally, I saw Michelle Obama's podcast. I'm like, oh, I should ask to be on her show.
Yes.
A year ago. I don't think she's recorded anymore, but I would not have, right? Because now I'm like, the worst she will say is ignore me or say no, right? So the thing is, it's okay to be discouraged. Find your people, let them comfort you, let them tell you, let them share the stories with you, because it's real. It's the story of every successful entrepreneur. So if you're thinking you're being discouraged right now means you're not going to be successful, I want you to flip the switch. Because you being discouraged right now is the exact reason why you will be successful, as long as you don't quit. Ask for help. There's a ton of help. There's Dr. Una's community is golden. She is golden. Get in her group, MoneyFitMD Facebook group. It's an amazing space. Get in her paid program. It's an amazing space. But the bottom line is you become the people you surround yourself with. So yes, if you surround yourself with people that are like big discouragement, you don't want to do that ever again, then sure, if that's what you want. But if you want to thrive, if you want to succeed, if you want to live a life that is true and rich and purposeful and live your dreams, just get in there and get the help you need, because she has your back.
Oh, now you're trying to make Dr. Una cry.
No,
you made me glad.
I don't know. We're recording on Friday. You can't cry today.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure why, but okay, I'll roll with it.
And I just made that rule up. Hey, I make rules up all the time. That's
okay. There you go. Okay. It's Friday, people. You can't cry on Friday. Okay. All right. Where can people find you? The amazing Dr. Latifat.
You can find me on my podcast, the MoneyFitMD podcast. It's where we talk. I mean, this is literally what I do. Talk to women, help us curate our own rich life, understand that money is not something that's impossible. It can be simple. It can be doable. And you don't have to stop being yourself in order to achieve money. So I talk about that on my podcast. You can go listen and subscribe. And of course, you can find me on my website as well, which is moneyfitmd.com. You can schedule a consultation if you want to chat or learn how you can build the rich life that you want. And honestly, you deserve, because the world needs your magic. So go create magic.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on. And thank you for taking us behind the scenes. In a world where there's a lot of highlight reels, I really appreciate people coming and, like taking the curtain, removing the curtain and say, okay, let me show you how this thing really works. I really, really appreciate that. And you have no idea how many people who are like, wait a minute, you mean everything I've been going through is normal? And, that's the experience they're leaving with. And they can say, oh, so I can thrive in spite of all. I thought this was my disqualification, only to find out this means that I'm on track, So thank you for doing this. This is so, so, so helpful. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for inviting me. Always a pleasure. And thanks everybody for listening. Always a pleasure.
Yay. All right. You people, she said you can subscribe. I'm telling you, go subscribe to her podcast. Okay. You guys can keep talking about all these things and, follow her stuff. And, I want you to share this episode. I want you to tag me, tag her, make some noise, and let's support this. This is so good. And I'll see you, my friends, next episode of the EntreMD podcast. Hey, if you love listening to the EntreMD podcast, I want to invite you to join EntreMD On Demand. It is my signature subscription program that gives you access to a library of business courses designed to help you do one thing as a physician entrepreneur, and that is to thrive. Just head out to entremd.com/on demand, and I'd love to have you join us. See you on the inside.